a lot of times people will want you to respect their standards, respect their perspectives, respect who they are and their words. But it's like, bro, you can't even live up to the ideas you set for yourself, much less the ones I got. You want to be seen as real, but ain't nothing about you real. And then you think I'm gonna respect what you got to say? Nah, nah. I don't know how to give grace. Listen, I don't know how to give grace to that. I don't know how to be good with that. I could forgive it maybe, but nah. Welcome back to Relationship Wise with a Do family. It's your boy Terrell. Another dolo episode. Taja's working today, so I said let me go ahead and handle some minutes. Um, if you're new here, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe. Um, funny enough, I believe between TikTok and Instagram, people are it's kind of neck and neck with followers. So I'm like, I might have to switch over to TikTok, but we'll see. So if you're willing to go ahead and follow us on TikTok or Instagram, which whenever you feel you own more, you know what I'm saying? So today's episode is about forgiveness and grace, right? So this one is gonna be a short one. I'm not gonna take up too much of y'all time. I actually gotta go to work. So the reason why I want to talk about grace and forgiveness is because I feel like it's been a reoccurring theme over the last couple months, especially with things that are going on in my life, friendships, um, some of the internal work I got to do, even with I guess even my wife sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I've said on here a few times that like I'm not the best at forgiveness, but I don't think forgiveness is the true problem. I think it might be grace, right? And we're gonna get into the differences between the two in a second. So I hope y'all had to stick around. Yeah, let's get into it. So when it comes to forgiveness and grace, let's define them before we start, right? So forgiveness is the act of forgiving or letting go of someone who intentionally hurt you, right? And that's important because I feel like a lot of times in our life, people wrong us, and whether it's big ways, small ways, you know what I mean. Whether that's friends, family, and I think for me, I always felt like, yo, I can't forgive them because they know what they was doing. I know they know what they was doing, but like at the same time, most people, while they did what they did, in some cases, they don't know how deep it affected you, right? There's some cases where they know how deep it did affect you, but there's some cases where when they were acting out of doing things that was to just better they own their self. It was selfish. It was um while it wasn't considerate, it wasn't personal and detrimental to you. You know what I mean? So and there are some cases that's you know what I mean because motherfuckers be trying it. Let's not act like they don't. But most times I like to believe at least that most people ain't really acting out of malice. As long as you got, I guess, good people around you, right? So forgiveness, just to go back to it, is the act of letting go someone who has intentionally hurt you, right? Um, you know what I mean? So that's interesting. So anyway, but yeah, so now we're talking about grace. Grace is the acceptance of a person's flaws and limitations, right? And when I looked this up, I think, maybe the spirit has led me to this because every time when I looked this up, I saw that a lot of people in a lot of articles talking about God, Christ, the Bible. And I'm not hugely religious, right? Nothing wrong with being religious. I go to church, here and there, not frequently at all, really, but um, I wouldn't call myself a believer, but I definitely know God. You know what I mean? So it's interesting because I'm like, okay, I wonder where the spirit is leading me. I feel like maybe in this part of my life, this season of my life, I need to embrace more of a forgiving, grace filled mindset. You know what I mean? Because I think that I know I'll probably need grace going forward, and I guess just general understanding of like things that I might go through. Parts of who I am, et cetera, et cetera. Just an idea, maybe. All right. So, but yeah, grace is the acceptance of a person's flaws and limitations. Um, I think that's a big one for me. And maybe because I feel like I'm naive or I'm more thoughtful with everything that I do. I feel like everybody should have the capacity to do something. Let me make an example or give an example of that. I feel like because people are able to be decent, they should be decent, right? I think that if people tell you they're going to do X, they should just do it. Like it shouldn't be an argument. It shouldn't be hard to do. It shouldn't be a thing they make excuses about. They should just do it. And I have a hard time believing that that person can't do it. Or I have a hard time accepting excuses when they say they can't do it or they say they can't be somewhere on time or um they can't become a better version of themselves because I'm like, I feel like everybody has the room to do it, but everybody is human. And I have to understand that in their humanity, they don't feel that they have the ability to do it themselves. Like they don't even believe in their ability to do it themselves, which is crazy because I believe more in their ability. And I think that's where the problem lies, right? I feel like I believe more for people and in people than they believe in themselves. And I think that's why I have this problem of grace and forgiveness. You know what I mean? I think that, or rather, I know that people have the ability, but I think I'm estimating and guesstimating people's capacity, right? Um, and that's a big one. You feel me? I'm a little philosophical. Excuse me. I know I'm a little philosophical, but bear with me. You know what I mean? I feel like because like I said, people can do something. They should. They 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 got the ability to do it, so they should just show up. But we human, so we're not always capable of showing up in the way we need to. We're not always on the way we need to be on because it it it's the simple fact that we feel like I can't give my best today, or I feel like if I don't show up in a certain way, somebody or something won't accept me. So I could kind of see that as something that people have a problem with. But for me, I feel like you should even show up and show out at all times, even if it's bad, even if you said to your friends, "Hey, I'm gonna be here at a certain time." If you're gonna be late, just tell me you're gonna be late. Like I could understand you being late. We human, I get it, but tell me. You feel me? I can understand. Hey, you said you was gonna do X. If you know on the day of, or if you know you can't do it anymore, just let me know. Don't just not show up and then not say anything. Cause that's for me where I'm like, now I'm judging and projecting onto you. Cause like, had I been in your shoes and I was late, I would have told you, hey, I'm running late. Or if I can't pull up, I'll be like, hey, something came up, I can't come today. You know what I mean? Whether even at my job or whatever, I've always tried to build that rapport. And I feel like because it's so easy for me, ability, it should be, or well, excuse me, because it's so easy for me, I feel like it should be easy for other people. And again, I'm estimating people's capacity and their own and trying to understand their own ego as I understand mine. You know what I mean? So yeah. So let's get into a little bit of the explanation of forgiveness, right? So forgiveness is a deliberate decision to let go of the feelings of resentment or vengeance towards someone who has harmed you. It can involve taking responsibility, acknowledging the consequences of your actions, and expressing remorse. Hmm, interesting, right? You can also try to offer amends and describe your hopes for the future of your relationship, right? So, for me, I guess is this that I do have a problem with forgiveness because sometimes I do want to get my get back. Like I'll be waiting. I know the Bible or the good book says that vengeance is the Lord's, but I ain't gonna hold you. I want some of that vengeance for myself, bro. Like I be wanting revenge, but I've learned to not take it unnecessarily. Sometimes I do think that you have to um take revenge with God's help and permission, if you will. But I don't think you should just take it at will, right? There are times and there are places and times where you're gonna be called to have to make things happen. But I'm very careful with how I operate and deliberate on that action. You know what I mean? So that's interesting. Grace grace can involve trusting the other person's heart, giving them slack instead of letting frustration build, and being kind and gentle in your words. You can also try to look for ways to help them, such as through everyday kindness or your presence. Grace can involve outlawing feelings of superiority or inferiority in the presence of others and instructing people to forgive each other. And that's interesting too, because I I should give people more slack, although I got standards. You know what I mean? Like I hate to say my grace is conditional, but it is. You feel me? Like, and I think everybody who's honest with themselves, there is a limitation to grace. There is a limitation to at least human grace. Because there has to be, right? I can't let you disrespect and or play with me all the time. Cause you can't get away with fucking me over. You can't get away with saying one thing and then not doing it. Nah, we gonna have a problem. You know what I mean? So yeah. Hold on. Um, and also too, I kind of wanted to read a bit of what the Bible or what Google says about the Bible's act of grace is and its importance, I guess, in religion, right? So giving grace to others is the act of forgiving them unconditionally, similar to similar to how God forgives us through Christ. And I think that's why it's so hard, where, at least for me, um, grace is such a grace and forgiveness are such a divine thing that it is hard to do it through the lens of being a human. You know what I mean? Like being human versus understanding your own divinity and seeking, you know, God, Christ, etc. It is, I think it's a striving thing we got to do every day, right? Because I think that is the truest form of who we were meant to be, is to be Christ like or God like. But our humanity kind of holds us down, so to speak, right? And like I said earlier, I feel like even though there is some levels of grace and forgiveness that aren't conditional, and it's weird because I'm like, even though it says it here, I'm like, but I feel like there's conditions to that too. Like when it comes to God and man, like I feel like if you're unwilling to repent and you still sin, you guys still gonna damn you to hell, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like your life can still be in shambles. God gonna make you reap what you sow. So I don't believe that we get away with being um non-forgiving or non-grace filled, if you will. But there's there's always a consequence to it. So even with even with the concept of having um this perception of being unconditional, I believe everything is still conditional, right? There is a condition, and it might be a condition that we might not like, but it's a condition nonetheless, right? So yeah. Um, but I think, however, that I guess as a man and even as a husband, like I think this is something I really, really, truly got to work on, man. Y'all let me know. Do y'all got to work on grace and forgiveness? Because I feel like it's so easy to get lost in maybe even self righteousness or the idea that because I'm good and I wouldn't do what this person did to me, I shouldn't forgive them. I shouldn't have grace towards them. I feel like more people than me struggle with it, which I think. Put in the comments below. Um, yeah, man, I have a tough time with it, no lie. But I'm trying to work on it because I understand that at the end of the day, we are human. We gonna make our mistakes. We gonna be flawed, but I still believe in people's ability to do and be better. I still believe in my ability to do and be better. And I feel like if you're gonna be around me, we're gonna be cool. You have to do and be better. You have to want yourself to do and be better. You gotta want to show up and do and be better. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, it's just my thoughts on the concept. Um, it's crazy, man. But how y'all been, man? Life been life around here, man. But how y'all been, man? Put it in the comments. I'm gonna have to make this part of the IG and the TikTok story. Or not story, but post. You know what I'm saying? Let me know how y'all doing. I'm gonna freestyle a little bit because even though I got like maybe another 10 minutes or so to play with. I probably ain't even gonna keep y'all that long. But another thing that's been on my mind lately is I guess wanting overall to just be a better man, a better person. And I think that's always in the back of my mind. You know what I mean? I always want to be a person who strives for the best, does better regardless of whatever life is throwing at me. And I feel like I sometimes put too much pressure on myself to be perfect. But at the same time, I feel like in putting pressure on myself, I'll become the man I need to become. You know what I mean? And I like surrounding myself with individuals who are like that. And I feel like most people in our generation don't want to be like that, man. Like people, I really feel like people don't want the best for themselves. They want to be seen as the best, but they don't want to do what it takes to be the best. Whether that's the best friend, the best spouse, the best partner, the best um daughter, son, parent. I think it's always easy to be like, man, just like me for who I am and know that that is enough, which is I guess good in one sense, but it's also like you got to also give people what they need so they know to trust you, so they know that you are as good as you want to be seen in their eyes. Right? The ego is a funny thing like that. Like the ego says, I want to be seen in a certain way, but we don't always show up in that certain way. We say, hey, I want you to see me as strong, capable, competent, but then we don't we're weak and incapable and or incompetent. You feel me? Like how you gonna have that kind of disparity, that kind of um oxymoronic, that kind of contradicting personality, but want everybody to see you in a way that's good. Like, nah, bro, you gotta show up and show out, even if it's hard. And I feel like I know everybody talks about it, but everybody ain't really about that. And I feel like that's annoying, scary, um, bothersome to me because I'm like, bro, people really say one thing and they try to tell you who they are and how they want you to see them, but they aren't what they said they are. You feel me? Like just show up and be the version of you that you said you are, and people will believe in you. Because I feel like that's what it is to be a real man or a real woman or a real adult, a real person, a genuine person. You feel me? Like, and a lot of people out here just be faking. They just want everybody to see them as real, but ain't nothing about you real. That shit, that shit lame to me. That to me is where I think I draw the line in the sand and where that's what my standard is. Like a lot of people, a lot of people say that they want to live up to that, but can't even meet that standard. And I'm like, hold up, like, and and then a lot of times people will want you to respect their standards, respect their perspectives, respect who they are and their words. But it's like, bro, you can't even live up to the ideas you set for yourself, much less the ones I got. You want to be seen as real, but ain't nothing about you real. And then you think I'm gonna respect what you got to say? Nah, nah. I don't know how to give grace. Listen, I don't know how to give grace to that. I don't know how to be good with that. I could forgive it maybe, but nah. You feel me? You at least got to be a stand up person. Just my thoughts. Like, you know, again, Put in the comments, tell me what y'all think, man. Because I feel like everybody is real good at talking about who and what they can be and should be, as opposed to understanding who they need to be. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. Um, if you're rocking with me, if you're really rocking with the message, fam, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, man. Grace and forgiveness is something I need to work on. You know what I mean? I hope that some of the people who watch this can be moved or even, comment about their own journey on grace and forgiveness. Because I really need help personally. I ain't gonna hold you. I need help with becoming more grace filled and more uh forgiving. You know what I mean? So y'all let me know, man. I'm about to clock out, but yeah, I'll holler at y'all. Y'all be easy.